Hey, folks, today I've got awesome coach with me, Orly Amor. She's an elite business coach for public speakers. Not only does she do that, this woman has started 5 companies and as a corporate trainer, best-selling author, international public speaker, she's helped over 200 people, 200 people. That wouldn't be much to brag about. She's helped 200,000 people around the world maximize their bottom line by tripling, quadrupling their sales. Not to mention, this woman speaks 3 languages, has traveled the globe over the past year or so, just got settled back in home in Brooklyn. So, hey, thanks. Orly, how are you today?
I am great. Thank you so much, Charles, for having me.
Orly's been a trooper. So, I have just switched streaming platforms. She jumped from one to the other. Started recording when we was having a general conversation, and then I turned off recording to start recording. She's just hanging in there with me the whole time.
We learn as we go. It's all good.
That's all right. Orly, tell us a little bit about you, or better yet, give us a Cliff Notes version of your story of kind of where you started to where you are today.
Wow, that's a loaded question, but
Isn't
thank
it?
you, Charles, for asking. It's, so, how much time do you got? No, I'm just kidding.
Sure.
I am a business coach for public speakers, and my journey actually started in property management for 25 years, where I wrote a couple of books on the subject matter. And then one of my girlfriends asked me to speak at a women's shelter, and I said, "Well, what do you want me to speak about?" Uh, Property management, right? And so I said, "No, of course not." And she said, "Because she wants me to tell my story." And I said, "No, that's not going to happen."
Hi.
Back and forth we went, and she was kind of annoying. And after a while, I said yes. And that's where I met a woman that wanted to end her life that day. But after hearing me speak, she decided to live and asked me to show her how. And
Wow.
I realized right there and then, that was my pivotal point, if you will. Right there and then
Sure.
I said, you know what? This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I do not want to do property management. There's a long story version of this, but it's all good. And so I decided to get into public speaking. And after speaking around the world and getting certified as a behavior analyst, I realized that there are speakers out there that don't get paid to speak. And that kind of frustrated me, because that was like
Sure.
my aha moment. What do you mean you didn't get paid, right? It was kind of one of those things. And I said, well, I have to create something that people need to learn to do this business and spread the word. So in the beginning of 2010, I told my business coach that I would like to impact the lives of 200 million people by 2025. Long story short, I started coaching speakers because one of my friends said, if you help other speakers get the money and their message out, who cares how much money they make? How about you calculate how many people they impact, and that will help you get to your 200 million. That was my aha moment again, where I said, hey, you know what? Yeah, let's do it all together. So right now we're at 103 million, I think, give or take. And so we're really excited about that. And I am the only one in the world that guarantees on paper that people will make 150K their first year in public speaking. So I'm proud of that.
Wow. So I mean, there's a whole lot to go back and review there for those Old Testament fans out there. That was a burning bush moment. If you got a lady who's ready to just not be here anymore, and then you came and speak, that would have to be the absolute. You said aha moments a couple of times, but that's probably one of the bigger, better ones I've ever heard. Uh,
Mm.
how? So let me fast forward real quick. The That's the most interesting thing you said. But the second one, how in the world do you guarantee that somebody will make a 150K in their first year?
I love that question.
I
So,
love that question.
yeah, thank you. The, you know, Charles, let's play along. If
Okay.
I get you a job at McDonald's, can I guarantee they'll at least pay you the minimum wage?
You can guarantee
Of
that.
course, guarantee that, because it's minimum wage and it's
Right.
the law, right?
Right.
Well, in public speaking and in the world of public speaking, 150K is minimum wage. So I can guarantee at least that most of my clients who do exactly what I tell them to do after I position them and show them the way, usually make more than that, because that's something they can make really, really quickly. If you think about it, 30 gigs a year for $5,000, that's
Right.
150K. 30 gigs, that's maybe 2, 3 events a month. That's once a week, give or take. I can guarantee that
So are
easily.
Are you working with people? So let's back up a little minute and let's just.
You asked.
I did. I had to ask. That was a good. That was a good
That was a
question. Very
great
proud of
question.
myself. I'm a full Ellen DeGeneres here. So look, if you're what does your business model look like? So you get out there, you start speaking. Uh, what? Let me back up again. So when you start speaking, what are you speaking on out of the gate? Continuing back to your story, and that'll get us to what your business model looks like.
Well, I mean, I believe that everybody has a passion inside of them that they do want to share with the world, but they don't know how to go about it. You know what? If you had to, what is it that you're passionate mostly about, right? It's
Right.
helping people, right? But the helping people part is very broad and very general, right? We want to help people. Who do you want to help? What do you want to help them with, right? And it's a passion. Mine was mindset first, and then I
Mhm.
became a behavior analyst. So I was able to go into corporations and teach their salespeople how to close the deal 98% of the time through profiling, not through sales 101. So I don't teach sales at all. Really, I just teach people how to read people. It's really cool, right? So the fun fact about that is that everybody has a passion. And if you would speak about your passion, you wouldn't even need to be trained as a speaker. You just light up when you speak about it. Like I'm lighting up about the business of public speaking because I
Sure.
love this industry. It's amazing. It's allowed me such a beautiful lifestyle, traveling around the world. Been to 27 countries in 18 states in my career of public speaking. So I would say, it's what's your passion. Actually, I got into for the travel. I didn't get in for my message.
Right.
But so to answer your question is that what you speak about is what you're passionate about, and people will pay for it. So my tagline is, if you have a message, somebody's willing to pay for it.
So out of the gate, when you start, you get that aha moment. You say, "I'm a speaker." Your first few or first, I don't know, year or so is speaking about mindset, and then you start broadening out from there.
Well, actually, my first few years were about property management. I hated it, but
Oh,
you know what I
sure,
mean?
but you knew it.
But I knew it. I was in it. I wrote a couple of books on it, and what I found out in property management, although I had all the certifications you can think of, um, it was like an overachiever kind of a problem. And
Right.
so I decided that I want to speak to board of directors of condos and homeowners associations and how to relate to their property management company. I had one of the largest property management companies in Florida. And so I decided that I need to start speaking about how to negotiate, how to get along, because they usually don't get along, you know.
Right.
Board of directors of condo and homeowners associations is a place for people's egos. It's an arena for
Oh
people's
boy.
egos, right? And
Yes.
so I like to I'm a disturbing person. Like I like to disturb the whole thing. What do you
Sure.
call it? Well, whatever.
A
It's an
disruptor.
expression. It's a disruptor. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I knew that buzzword
I'm
was
a
hanging in there
disruptor. I
somewhere.
am
You want to
totally a
get it.
disruptor.
You want to get in there and get a hold of the guy that wants to tell everybody else how tall their grass can be and what color the front door should look
Absolutely,
like.
yeah. Yeah, and when they have, sidewalks that are broken and they want to paint the building, okay, fix the sidewalk because you're gonna
Right.
get sued first, right? And so that's the kind of thing that I used to do. And actually, there's a YouTube video of me on YouTube. It's called Orly on property management. It's hysterical, actually. But
Orly. Okay.
having said that, it's what I was passionate about it. I was very passionate about making sure that people get along. That was just me. But
Sure.
after a while, it was kind of boring. So you speak about what you're passionate about, and then you can evolve. No, how many people do you know that say, I'm a leadership speaker, or I'm a leadership coach, or I'm a motivational speaker, I'm a
Right.
motivational coach. And here's the problem with that: there's too many of everything, right? And so event planners don't know the difference. If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's a duck. So what happens is that they decide to go with people they already know. Better off with the devil you know than the one you don't. And
Right.
they hire the same people over and over again, making their conferences super boring, right?
Right.
What if you stood out? What if you were more intriguing, sexy, and marketable to an event planner with your topic of passion? What if I positioned you enough to be able to do that over and over again with one thing, not even all, because I do give you three. But what if I only gave you one way to do this? You can just apply one and still make the money, the minimum wage.
So when you say And tell me if it's a secret sauce, but you say you've got 3 ways. I assume this starts to get into your business model a little bit. Can you elaborate on those 3, or
Yes,
do I need to sign up
absolutely.
for a
Oh,
lead magnet?
no, it's all good.
I'll give you my email address.
Yes, no worries.
Good.
Definitely. So here's what I'm going to say. The industry right now, right, is lacking variety, diversity, and mostly women speakers. That's really what's missing, what's lacking. And I'm going to blow your mind for a couple of seconds here with
Do it.
statistics, okay? There are 64,000 events a day in America alone, Canada and the United States, that pay speakers. And yet most speakers don't make $50,000 a year. Why is that? Right? Kind of mind boggling, right?
Wait a minute. You said there's 64,000 events per day
Per day
in the
in
U.S.
North America, Canada, and the United States. Cool.
Okay.
Now, why is that? There's 2 reasons why speakers don't make money. One, they don't know how, so we can't blame them for that.
Sure.
Two, they're lazy. They don't want to do the work. They just
Sure.
want to be called. They're like, they think they're the
Bring
you know
me leads.
then yeah, but they're like the next thing since sliced bread. This is not
Right.
the truth. I mean, every morning there's a speaker that gets up and say, oh, you know what, I'd like to be a public speaker, right?
Sure.
Whether they're good or bad, it doesn't matter, just so you know. If you're bad, they won't call you back. How's that?
Right. Sure.
Right? And so in what I've learned, I have a book called Public Speakers You're Not All That, 12 Reasons Why Event Planners Won't Hire You. And I've interviewed 3,400 plus event planners who pay speakers for this book. It took me 4.5 years of my own time and my own dime to do this work, because I wanted to find out from the horse's mouth what exactly is wrong. I got paid in one event, and the people that were there did not. I just found out. Actually, the event was in Arlington, Texas. Hysterical story. Really hysterical. Can I tell it? Do we have a
Please.
minute?
Yes,
It
this is
really
about
takes 1 minute
storytelling. I
to tell
love
that
stories.
story. You
Do
love
it.
stories. That's right. You are.
Yeah.
So I had a tour in Europe where I was speaking, and after that European trip, my flight was to Dallas, then Arlington, Texas. That's where I was heading. And in Arlington, there was this amazing business conference at the time, and I was in the break room for speakers, just standing, minding my own business. These 3 guys come over to me, and one of them says, aren't you Orly Amor? I said, yeah. Do I know you? Sorry, I don't remember. And like one of them says, no, we've never met before, but we've seen you on the circuit. I said, oh, okay, phew, right? So we
Right.
started networking, and at one point, one of them says to me, I'm just curious, how did you get this gig? I said, I don't know. I called, I told them what I speak about, they paid me, and I'm here. They all looked at me like if I had 3 heads. You got paid? And I'm like, oh no, what did
Nope.
I just do? I said, you guys didn't? And they're like, no, we got our expenses paid, but we didn't get paid. I said, oh no,
Sure.
I got paid and I got my expenses paid. By this time I was rubbing it in, but I didn't do it on purpose. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And one of them says to me, well, we want to know how you did that. And jokingly, because at the time I wasn't coaching, I said, well, if I tell you, I'm going to have to charge you. But just before I could say, just kidding, they said, okay, name your price. And I'm like, what? Right?
That's
And
awesome.
I realized that it's not fair, number one, but I realized there's a lot for me to learn about this industry, more than what I've done for myself. I thought I was special. I'm not. I have a story. I have a business model,
Sure.
and that's what I teach my clients. So how did I discover what I do in my program and my business model, if you will? Is how to position a speaker. Like I can take 10 speakers who are motivational speakers and position them differently to be the one to go to, or to sound good enough so an event planner would say, I wonder what this guy speaks about, right? And then I would come up with 3 titles of speeches that would be also intriguing, sexy, and marketable, and teach them how to market themselves while doing this 1 hour a day. So my guarantee not only is good on the money side, but it also happens with 1 hour a day investment.
So let's take a look at then your actual business model here. So I'm Charles Alexander. I get excited. I shed explainer videos and business coaching. I got 3 kids at home, 13, 11, and 9. I got to get away from them. I'm going to travel the globe. I come to you. I've got I don't know, let's say a couple of topics here. One of them's on time management, and one's on storytelling, and one's
Storytelling,
on
yeah,
mindset. So those aren't different. How do you
very
position
different.
those? Well, they're
So it's
different, but they're not. So
right.
position any one of them to immediately be. Oh, that's putting you on the spot, Eddie. What would I start thinking about to do to position one of those differently?
So it's not about it's actually what you just said. You said storytelling. You're actually giving away the story. So what if I said to you, use the story formula or S.T. acronym, and I would
Right.
create an acronym out of the word story formula to achieve success? What if I gave you that right now? Right? I mean, I'm not giving away the store even, because usually the exercise that we go through in my program is making it a lot more interesting, right? But
Right.
but to give you a little tip, event planners like formulas and secret sauces. You talked about my secret sauce. You have a secret sauce. You have a sauce, whatever it is, right? A sauce,
Yeah.
and people want to
Oh,
know.
I'm sauce heavy. I got it everywhere.
And so event planners want to know. And it's intriguing enough to say, you know what? I wonder, I heard about story. Does he mean really story, or is there a formula? And if there's a formula, what is the formula? Because you're not going to give it to them unless they hire you.
I
Make sense?
love that. Yes.
And then you will, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say I've seen that many different places. I have my own business coach who constantly kind of gets into that, and even some of these online courses about how to create online courses is all about blueprints and formulas and exactly what you're saying.
Right, exactly. And then I would actually, I get like a download or an inspiration, if you want to call it that way. And I would actually come up with what the story formula is for you with
Sure.
your words. And
Right.
so when people look at it, they're like, oh my God, that's genius. But there's more to this. And there's
Sure.
also rules with titles of speeches. So all of that is in the program. How much to charge, when to charge. What do you say to an event planner that says we have no money? It's not true. They don't want to pay you, and
Sure.
it's kind of a ego hurting kind of a thing, but it's okay. Embrace it, know what to say and how to say it, and that will get you through the door, no matter what they say. So I teach you all that. And so the business model is not about just positioning you. It's also about teaching you the language of the event professionals. We don't like to actually tell them, that they're event coordinators or event planners. They're
Sure.
event professionals, and that's what they like to be called in the space that we are in, right?
So if somebody watching here decides to hire you, what does that look like? Is it one-on-one coaching? Is it a group training session? What is it?
There is those two things. There's the one-on-one or group coaching. In a group, there's only about 4 to 8 people, depending. But I really only have about 4 to 6 people in a group at any time. And yeah, one-on-one is just more expensive, but it's a financial decision actually. And some people just, even if they have the money to pay me one-on-one, they just want to get into the group because they like the
Sure.
camaraderie and all that.
Sure.
Although they learn just from me, and I'm the only one giving the group coaching, there is nobody else. Like, I don't have a coach that
Right.
coaches.
But
Because
it's fun to hear everybody else's point of view, what their struggles is, because you didn't know that was, and then
we don't
you
even
got
get
the same
into that. We
question.
don't have
Oh,
time to get into that.
oh,
We
oh,
don't
oh,
have
oh.
the time to get into that. But let me tell you this. I tell everyone the same thing. My condolences if you ever want to work with me, because you're stuck with me for life. You only pay me once, and then you're stuck with me, meaning that every time you have a struggle with anything that I show you, we call it the process. Once you start the process, I hold your hand until you make the money. That's my guarantee. My
Wow.
guarantee is to be there all the way until you make the money or until you fire me, whichever comes first. I don't care. My point is, you need to make the money. You're allowed to make the money. There's plenty of money to go around. Actually, right now, we're 1 million coaches short in the world and 1 million speakers short in the world. And yes, I know, right? And it's
Right.
$100 billion a year industry worldwide. And according to the brokerage firm of public speakers and coaches, they said that by the end of this year, 2022, it will increase by $13.2 billion.
So let's say I work with a lot of financial advisors, insurance agents, coaches. Let's say they want to get into speaking and get paid to speaking, but they don't want to be a full-time speaker. Is that something that makes sense? Can they still get paid for it? Do they
Oh,
have to
and they can still
travel
make
planet Earth?
150K.
Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
part-time, full-time. They can decide what they want to do. I love this industry because of that. Actually, you hit the nail on the head. Being flexible in this industry is fun. When I go on cruise ships or when I go on vacation, I could decide when I do that, and I could just go. I don't have to ask anyone for permission, and I don't have to worry about having a job. Some people have a job, and so decide that, what, they can only do public speaking in the weekends. Okay, fine. So every day of the week you're going to work on your process, and on the weekends you're going to book yourself. And if you're not booked during the week, then that's fine. You just refuse those during the week because you have a job to go to, and you
sure.
want to keep that. But once you start making enough money to replace your job, you might want to just leave that and do full-time speaking. I've been doing full-time speaking for 25 years. I just celebrated 25 years full-time
Woo,
speaking. Yeah, I
congratulations.
love it. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
So, so transitioning real quick to how you operate, other than referrals and word of mouth, because that's the answer I get quite often. What other ways do you use to market your business?
as a coach, really, I speak about it now. Since 2019, I've been invited to speak on the business of public speaking, which is not one of my topics at all. But I was hired by this group of businessmen in Grenada, and they paid a whole week for me to go to Grenada. Well, actually, it was like 4 days, but go to Grenada, be at the Sandals Resort. Can anybody like
Wow.
think about, like, oh, this was a gig?
Yeah.
You got paid, and they paid your expenses to go to this resort. So it was to speak to these entrepreneurs about the business of public speaking, how to get their message out. It was amazing. It was amazing.
So we're getting into overtime here. We're going to start down wrapping up. You've
You
traveled
got it.
all over planet Earth. Uh, what's your top two destinations you enjoy going to, or you'd recommend I go to?
Well, for speaking, I was just in Sweden for the first time ever. So that was really nice. They are very lovely people. And I've been and I spoke in Istanbul. But, I don't have a favorite destination as far as that goes. But I think that my destination of choice will be soon Australia.
Australia. You haven't been yet. You're going to go.
No, I would love to go. Yeah. So for anyone listening, if you ever have a gig in Australia, no, I'm just kidding.
Sure.
I am. Yeah. So that's one country I haven't been to yet, and kind of on my bucket list. So, but I've been to so many countries so many times that it all seems the same to me. My favorite country to visit is Greece.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so beautiful, and the history, you can feel it. The energy is, through the ground. You can feel it, whether you're on the beach or on an island or in a historical monument. You feel the energy in Greece. I've been a few times.
Well, then I'll add that to my list, and we'll see
Yeah.
if we can find you a gig down in Australia. I do the little accent, but I butcher everything. You can tell from my own personal accent, it's thick.
It's
So,
hard.
how can anybody watching get in touch with you?
Well, you can go to orlyamor.com, orlyamor.com, and you can actually even look me up on Twitter, LinkedIn. It's I am Orly Amor, or Orly Amor Business Coach. It's easy to find me on the internet. Not many people are called Orly Amor.
No,
Uh,
you're it. You win.
and you can actually even text me or email me, but I will just say, you can text me 917-515-6803.
Oh, all right. Orly's getting a drunk text tonight from me. Good
No
deal.
worries.
Thank you so much. This was a blast.
Thank you.
I've got my second career coming up, and this is good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Have a good day.
You too.